Okay, welcome from Zurich, Switzerland, Moods Club. Sorry, we still are not allowed to have audience at Moods, so while waiting until we know when we can reopen with audience and the cases are going down with COVID, we are doing residencies here. We are equipped with a system who can broadcast and record and stream. This Zoom is not streamed by Moods, but tomorrow there will be a concert of Chico Freeman's new band, live from Moods, same time tomorrow. Really looking forward. They're here since yesterday, and it's really amazing what's coming out from the music. Chico just built this band recently with different ideas, and they play for the first time together. They rehearsed on not Zoom, but Jam Kazan virtually before, and now they are first time physically together. And it's a great mix of different influences it's a really amazing band. You have, for example, you have an oud player. Oud is a Arabic instrument like a lute, guitar with more, it's more complete than a guitar. It's coming from the Arabic world. It's Amin Brahihi, you can see here. He's originally from Tunisia, but he lives in Switzerland. Then you have on vibraphone, marimba, and piano, a musician based in France, close to Switzerland, but originally from the UK, Jim Hart.
Hi.
On bass from Switzerland, Basel, Emmanuel Schneider. Say hi.
Hello,
everybody. Then on percussion, un Latino, and he gives a Latin touch, is Alberto Garcia Navarro.
Hola.
¿De dónde estás?
Islas Canarias. Canary Island.
He is from the Canary Island, from Spain. And then on drums from Biel in Switzerland, the same city that, where Chico also lives at the moment, Biel, Bien. It's Luigi Galati. Luigi, say ciao. Just make, dis bonjour, Luigi, avec les mains. Yeah. Luigi doesn't speak English, so when he will speak French and he will translate. And tonight, Howard Mandel from Jazz Corner will moderate the whole evening and ask questions to everybody. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Howard.
Hey. How's it going, Chico Freeman?
Hey, Howard. My homeboy, he's from Chicago.
We've known each other almost 45 years, almost 50 years.
I'm not that old, Howard. I'm not that old.
Neither am I, but somehow.
Yeah, somehow we've been, yeah, we've been there, yes.
So this is exciting. And Chico, tell us about your plan for this concert tomorrow.
Well, I've been able to assemble some of the best musicians I've actually played in it, and they all happen to be here in Switzerland, which is I thought was an unusual thing. But I've known Emmanuel and Luigi for quite a while, and I just met Amin and oud player, and then I was recommended. I've been to Cuba 5 times, and a friend of mine, a wonderful Cuban. I'm looking for a percussionist, and she recommended Alberto. And so I contacted these guys, and then Jim, who actually 3 or 4 years ago he almost toured with me at some major festivals in the summer, but he wasn't available, unfortunately. But somehow now we were able to hook up, and so this is very fortuitous because these guys, and they're really, some of them may not be known to the worldwide audience, but they are some of the finest musicians I've had the pleasure of working with.
Well, this is the really wonderful thing about these live streaming concerts. I'm hoping that Carine will agree, but the ability to get out of only being known in Zurich or in Biel, that the streaming concerts means people can tap into this music anywhere they are in the world. So Carine, you said that Moods Digital has done many of these concerts since the lockdown, the restrictions. Can you talk about when you started these productions and what you've learned?
Yeah, actually, we started in 2017, much before the pandemic. We had actually a renovation in Moods. We rebuilt Moods and we equipped it new technically. And I had a partner who had the vision to equip it in order to be able to stream in high quality and broadcast it. And so we equipped it with 12 moving cameras, with a studio, with streaming system, and with a platform. And the idea is to build a platform where people can subscribe, like a bit on Netflix. You can subscribe a week, a month, or a year. And in the time you are a subscriber, you can watch everything which is also already on VOD or the live thing. And the idea is to sync it for the future, to collect a big archive and to share it with all the jazz fans all over the world, and also to support the musician. Because we do a revenue share system where most of the income is going to the musicians, and to help musicians that when you play gig and Moods, with the end of the gig, it's not finished. There is a sustainability.
Yes.
And yeah, and this was the idea, but to be honest, we didn't think about the pandemic. So once COVID came, we continued to stream without audience, but to be honest, it's not the same. The feeling of a streaming without audience is not the same than the concert with audience. Something is missing. And it's cool because despite of the pandemic, we can follow live streams, but it will never, 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 never replace a real concert, the physical emotion that you can feel being there at this time in the same room.
Well, let me ask Jim, for instance, have you done any other live streaming performances?
Yeah, hi there.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Howard. One of the first gigs I did after the initial lockdown last year was with a drummer who's based in Basel in Switzerland, and he has a quintet called Convergence, which is another international band, but he put together a Swiss version of the band to play at the Schaffhausen festival in Switzerland, they managed to maintain their festival doing it all online. So that was the first experience that I had of playing a streaming gig. Done a couple of other things subsequently, including a couple of solo gigs which I broadcasted from home, which was a different experience as well.
So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, actually, the ones from home were really strange because I'm playing music in the music where I practice every day, and yet somehow the fact that I've set up a camera and my microphones, and I know that people are watching real time, completely changed the way that I played. I wasn't, you can't stop, and I wasn't practicing. I was playing a concert, so I got into that kind of flow space. I was wondering whether I would be able to actually, and I felt quite easily to get into that sort of performance space at home, which was a nice surprise actually. I was quite sort of anxious about it before. The afternoon prepping for it was so weird because I was like outside, getting wood in and with my son, and then I was like, okay, now I have to go upstairs and do a concert. I didn't think I was going to be able to get into the headspace, but somehow it worked out.
Chico, have you done previous live streaming concerts?
Yes, actually the first live stream concerts I did was here at Moods with Voices of Chicago. I don't know if you knew about that one, Howard, but I had four singers from Chicago and a piano player from Chicago, and brought them over here. And we did a sort of a gospel kind of thing, gospel jazz and mix. And we toured here and we played here at Moods, and we live streamed from Moods here, again with Carine. Yeah.
It was a beautiful evening.
I hadn't done anything prior to that.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking
we packed it in, didn't we? It was full. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Speaking to Carine's point, though, is it really different and difficult to perform without having a live audience in front of you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a performer, but I think so. But tell your turn, musician.
I'm used to doing. I've done. There's a thing that they put up. I recorded a thing. I recorded at a radio station. I did a WBGO in New York, Jersey, in New York, and out in California, I did another one with one of my quartets, my plus tet. And yes, it's different when you don't have an audience to play for, of course. But you know, we do that all the time when we make records.
Of course.
So I don't let it bother me. I just go into the, like, it's okay, I'm making a record, but I still have to perform, I still have to play. But Carine is right, and I think she's coming from the perspective, particularly as a listener, I mean, listening to it. But I have to say, our rehearsals here and playing with these guys, we've been having so much fun. And in a way, I compartmentalize. We've been rehearsing here, and we've been playing for the staff, for the sound guy, for the lighting lady, for Carine, for her staff that's been around. And to me, I remember days when there were only 2 people that came to my concert. But the thing was, you play like you're playing for 500,000, even if there's only 1 person there. So for me, I look at Carine sitting out in the audience, see her bopping her head, and Soraya and the other people, and I'm like, okay, cool. And we just have fun, and then we end up playing for ourselves. You know, which is good, in you know, to make sure. And I think I just forget that there's nobody out there.
Some of the musicians that you mentioned are playing with you on this concert you've worked with before, and some not. Are Luigi and Emmanuel rhythm section team that you've worked with previously?
Yes, I've taken Luigi and Emmanuel. I've taken them to Eastern Europe, and we've done some other things around Switzerland. And we also work with another guy. I was a special guest with a guy, Carine Baker, who was it was his band, and I was a special guest, so I worked with them in that. And then I've also worked with Luigi and Emmanuel in places here in Zurich, as just a trio, the 3 of us. So I've been playing with them for a while. So I know how well they play, and we've gotten to play well together. Adding Alberto and Amin and Jim is a big plus, because we filled out this thing. So I'm actually very excited about this. I'm having such a great time here in Moods playing with them. And it's rehearsal, but we're like, and we really keep. How many times did we play that little part, 8 parts, until we got it right? So I'm very pleased with that.
Emmanuel, let me ask you, have you been rehearsing live, or have you been rehearsing virtually, hooked up some way with software?
I think Emmanuel is just left for a while.
Oh,
yeah, Emmanuel and Luigi are having a few technical issues, I think, just at the moment.
No, they're asking if someone can let them in again because they had to restart.
All right, well, Armand, let me ask you, have you had experience with live streaming without having an audience around you?
Yeah, I actually had 2 concerts, one live streamed and one was recorded but live streamed after, but it was recorded live somehow. But it's a different experience. It's I'd say, at least based on what we are doing now, it's really a nice experience, because of course the concerts are amazing and audience is here and you share with the audience, but this has something a little bit more mystical to it. We are really together between the musicians, and we know that the audience is there, but we are not sharing directly with the audience. We are really in a kind of bag together and an atmosphere, like a closed thing with the musicians, and it has really a special vibe, I would say. But I do miss the concerts, to be honest.
Sure. Have you worked mostly in the band with your brother? Yeah,
that's the main my main band. is the band with my brother Hamza. We have been performing what we call contemporary Arabic music or progressive Arabic music. And also lately I've been exploring other fields, more electrical fields.
Anything with the tenor saxophone before?
Yes, actually, tenor saxophone was part of my band with my brother, with Band Beyond Borders. Actually, saxophone was one of the main instruments in that band.
Are you playing electric or acoustic?
I play in this project acoustic. Yeah, so, I'm playing with my roots.
It's such unusual instrumentation. I mean, I guess Jim's work, I suppose, is comparable in some ways to your brother's in terms of the structure of the music, yes? Because your brother plays Kanan.
Kanun, yes. I mean, what I love about this project when Chico invited me at the beginning, because I knew Chico because he's quite famous in the Swiss field, at least for me. I'm not very much into the jazz field that much, but I know him from here, and we played with common musicians, but never played together, never met. And I was very honored that he contacted me to play on this project. And I really liked that the music, of course, it was jazz influenced, but has this very strong melodic aspect, which really is part of my tradition and where I come from. And so I quite related to that. Also the Latin influence that is quite obvious, the fusion influence also, which I like. And the orchestration is so original. I mean, with the percussionist, a drummer, a vibraphone adds also something quite close to the kanun when you think about it. Almost, plucked in the sound. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me ask Alberto, what percussion instruments you are using in the concert tomorrow?
So right now I have a set with a pretty big set with 3 batas from Cuba, 3 congas, 1 bongos, cajon flamenco, with to give a little touch with flamenco and Spanish music, some timbales too, and cymbals and effect around. So,
I don't know much about the music from the Canary Islands. Cesar Avaria is the only name that really comes to mind. But could you talk a little bit about the cross-cultural influences that you must be exposed to there?
Yes, Canaria is between America and Europe. It was the way that every boat had to go to Canarias first before to go to America. So we get a lot of influence from Europe and also from America getting back to us. So for example, in Canaria, there's a big folk music, but also a lot of influence with Latin music or Latin American music too. So there's it's like a bridge between Europe and America.
And North Africa also, like the Tunisian music that Armin, is that passed through also?
Not really. There is some projects and there's some influence, but not really.
Of course there is,
yes,
of course.
Sorry.
You Canarians think you're African anyway. So.
We are.
It's okay. We are in Africa. It's okay.
That's the way it is. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of influence, but nowadays in the music, I don't know that much. There's a lot with the instrument from Morocco, and the traditional percussion instrument from Gran Canaria have a lot to do together. And also the way that there's a lot of reading in 3, but there's also like reading in 7/8 or 11/8. It's something super special, right? But yeah, it's a big variation of stuff. I think that there's influence from everywhere a little bit.
So let me ask Luigi, if you're playing in 7/8 or 11/8, do you just look at Alberto and keep track with him, or how do you hold the one there?
J'ai besoin d'un petit coup de main. La question.
Carmine.
comprends pas, Carine.
Tu dois
Ton
mettre
micro.
ton micro.
Can you ask the question again? Sorry. I will
said-
translate.
I said, how does he hold on to that one beat on an 11/8 or a 7/8? How does he communicate with Alberto on that?
Ok, comment tu communiques avec Alberto en 7-8, en 11-8, avec le beat et tout, comment ça se passe?
Bonne question, excellent.
Good question, excellent.
Je connais un peu les influences des musiques latines, en fait, parce que j'en ai beaucoup joué auparavant. Et il existe quelques codes qui sont immuables. Ça veut dire qu'il faut juste être présent, les écouter et se mettre ensemble. Et je dois dire que tu peux traduire ça déjà.
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to stop. Yeah, he must say that there are some codes, even if you're not from the Latin culture, there are some codes that are constant that you can recognize when you used to play with Latin percussionists or drummers. And then?
Exactement. Et la chance, c'est que Alberto, c'est une première rencontre, l'ouverture d'esprit, elle est très grande. Et ça permet, et il réussit à se mettre tout de suite avec ce qui est proposé avec la batterie, parce que moi, j'ai plutôt une approche plutôt jazz que plutôt vraiment culturelle latine, en fait.
Okay, so, and the chance is that Alberto is very open-minded, so he can really adapt his playing to jazz drummers like Luigi is, like he is, yeah.
Well, this is the whole African diaspora music, and that actually starts in Arabia also. Oh, sorry, I'm getting an incoming call. I thought I'd turn my phone off here. Whoops. It's going to be obnoxious like that for a minute. Whoops. I just mute my...
Voilà, il n'y a plus personne.
No, it's okay. He's
Sorry
back.
about that. Sorry. It's just,
No problem.
Howard.
my ringing tone is the most electric and noisy I could find. I'm sorry, it took me out of the call. So you're used to playing Latin music, Luigi. You have played Latin music, and it's all part of this African diaspora, which really starts in the Middle East anyway, right? Armand, do you know that the sweep, especially with your instrument, with the oud, influencing lutes in Europe, influencing the guitar, this is all coming from the Middle East, isn't it?
Yeah, the origins of the guitar clearly come from the Middle East. Ziryab, who's a character who has been tributed many times by different flamenco musicians and also some jazz musicians, is the one who brought that instrument through a beautiful story, because he was quite an inventor and he was kicked out also of that world. And he moved to what is known today as Spain, so Andalusia. And there believe that it's the development, the guitar comes from that origin. Yeah, and we have really lots of common things between, I would say, Spain and North Africa in terms of rhythms, in terms even of origins, because many people also flew back from Andalusia back to the northern African coast. And the influence is still obvious in the culture today.
So Chico, maybe we could talk about when you, like going backwards from Chicago into the world, from Chicago to Switzerland, of course, but also this Latin American, Afro-Cuban interests of yours, and how it gets you to incorporate Armine and the oud, and also Jim and his mallet instruments. How did this all come together for you? How did you hear it? How did you imagine that? Coming as a Chicago player.
Yeah, well, coming from Chicago, you know, I come from the blues and everything that we do in Chicago, plus the AACM and all of that. And but when I left Chicago and went to New York, oddly enough, that was my first experience playing Latin music. And I played with a lot of Afro-Cuban and salsa, and then people from Tito Puente, Ray Barreto, in New York, all of that. I did a lot of Latin, Machito, all the great guys. And I actually sat in Charlie Parker's seat in Machito's band. So I got connected with Dominicans, Dominicanos, and New Yorkers and Puerto Ricans and et cetera, and Cubans. And then I had the opportunity, and I went 5 times to Cuba. I went once with Dizzy Gillespie, took my own band down there, and I played, then I went down and I played with Chucho Valdez, with Ida Kere, and that's where I met Paquito Villavera and Arturo Sandoval and Changuito and all of those guys and a host of others. And even Gonzalo Rubalcaba was a kid, when I went down there, he was coming up as one of the promising piano players. And what's the drummer that lives here in Switzerland now? He played with Julio Barreto. So, yeah. So I went down out there and I met all of these Latin guys and I started playing. I played in Chucho's quintet with Miguel Anga, and then I played with Chucho and Ida Kere. And then I played with Chucho in London at Ronnie Scott's with Ida Kere. So I just made all these connections and I loved it. And talking to Dizzy, playing with Dizzy Gillespie, and his love for Latin music and Cuban music, because and then Giovanni Hidalgo and Camero, what's
Candido.
Candido, thank you. Yes, Candido Camero, yeah. And Candido and in New York, I did a lot, and I played Broadway with a lot of the guys, So doing this, that's how I got involved in it. And as a result, going to Cuba, I found out the musicians down there are quite awesome. Really extraordinary musicians. And so doing that, I had one big experience that I wrote some music. And in New York, they're a little bit different. We call them the clave police, because they're like, the clave has to be one way. And the funny thing that they do, and they play way on top of the beat, like they're way up. And being from Chicago, we play back from the Midwest and the South, we're relaxed, like Elvin and Detroit, just relax. So going to New York, where everybody's way up on the beat, it was a little uncomfortable for me. And then I'm playing with all these salsa guys. And no matter what I did, I would write, I took my hand at writing some music, but my clave didn't necessarily stay straight. And they were all on top of it. No, man, the clave is not this. You got to have it straight. You can't turn it around. So I said, I was playing with Hilton Ruiz, and we were in the band. It was Hilton's band, thank God. And Hilton had great confidence in me at the time. He always did. And he's playing one of my compositions. In fact, we're going to be playing it tomorrow. It's called La Maqueta. And we're playing this composition. And I guess the clave, because I did breaks, and the clave turns around and does all this stuff. And the guys are, man, they wanted to change the melody so that, add a beat so that the clave stayed straight and everything. And I didn't want to do that. So I said to them, I said, this must be, I said, you're talking about Latin jazz, right? Latin jazz, you got to have this, that, and the other. I said, well, we've solved the problem. I said, this isn't Latin jazz, this is jazz Latin. Because Latin jazz, you take Latin music and you make jazz sensibilities. I said, well, this is jazz music and we put Latin sensibilities on it. Then I went to Cuba and I asked Chucho and I asked all these guys, I said, look, man, is it a big problem if the clave flipped? And Chucho said, no. None of the Cubans had a problem with it. But all the New York guys had a problem. And I said, see, you guys say it's based off of Afro-Cuban. You need to go to Cuba and find out what the Afro-Cubans say about it. And that's what happened. So I started developing my own ideas about how to mix stuff and bring stuff together. That's why I originally was going to call this jazz conceptions in jazz and Afro-Cuban music. I didn't want to call it Latin jazz or even jazz Latin, but I'm taking elements and bringing them together in any way that I want. And then when I heard him play the oud, I thought, wow, this could be different. Afro, he's got the Afro part. But so anyway, it was an exciting thing when we met. And we talked.
It is exciting.
So that's how I got to that. And then Jim, I was surprised. Jim is just top of the line music. He plays marimbas, vibes, and piano. And I was surprised that, somebody told me about that. I was surprised that he plays great montunos on the marimbas, great montunos on the vibes. He can even play it on the piano.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, where are you from? You can't be from London. And he said, no, I'm from Cornwall. So that's how that happened.
Exactly. Proper job.
Jim, is there a big Latin music community in Cornwall?
No, but as I said earlier today, I think Cornwall is the closest place to Cuba in the United Kingdom. So,
I see.
So that's how
it's basically the same thing, you know.
I see, yes. Alberto, could you demonstrate a clave for us? Could you just clap a clave? People may not know, people watching may not know what it is.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of different kind of claves, so there's not just one clave. There's a lot.
Yes.
But there, we all know is like the free one song clave is the name. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. I think that by the tempo.
So when Chico talks about them flipping the clave, can you demonstrate that too?
That means that when you play the tune and some parts, we are playing like pam 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 pam. Repeat one part of the clave to make the music happen in the right clave. The melodies and the harmony change and all stuff.
I see.
Like if you have
Howard, it's like no, go ahead. It's like 2/3. He was singing a 2/3 song clave. Bum,
Yeah.
bum. No, I'm sorry. One. That's 2/3. But if you're doing that, but jazz melodies, we turn those melodies around. We do, I don't stick to one way, and we do breaks and stuff. So it could turn around, then it becomes like this. Then all of a sudden it's like it becomes
Right.
3/2, and that's the difference.
Right. I see. Chico, did you listen to those Charlie Parker records with Machito?
Yes, of course. I was sitting in his chair. I'm thinking Charlie Parker's playing the lead. I mean, sitting in that chair, and I'm playing now in that chair. I'm sitting in history. So yeah, when I found out, I didn't even realize that Charlie Parker had played Machito, but he did came from Kansas City to New York. So that was pretty wild.
Jim, I see that you've been doing stuff with processed vibes or marimbas.
Well, I for a long time I was using like a pickup system, going through effects, but that's going back a little while. What I've been getting into more recently is doing acoustic preparations of the vibes, because I got into playing some West African stuff, which I started doing through the vibes, and I found some ways of detuning the notes and creating some ways of dampening the system, which it was kind of to replicate a little bit the kind of balafon sound in a way, but I looked to the kind of contemporary classical piano preparation world for my inspiration on ways of doing it. It was also because I was touring with pickups, and the sort of logistics of that became complicated, so I tried to strip it all back and go acoustic. So I've been kind of experimenting on that. I haven't actually been using any of that in this music so far because it's quite a large ensemble, and there's a lot of colors already in there, so I don't feel like I need to add more than, I'm already playing 3 instruments, which is, I think that's enough. It's more, that's a lot even for me.
The colors you got to be careful, otherwise you swallow up the oud sound, right?
Totally, absolutely, yeah.
Armand,
we're leaving each other space, and that's something that's been really beautiful today is, everyone's been listening to what everybody's bringing and breathing space into the music and finding out how to play together. It's really coming. Something that someone said earlier about playing with audiences and playing without audiences just made me think of something which is this idea of making music. To me, is always about trying to create something which is greater than the sum of its parts. And the way that where that comes from is the space between the people. And so whether that's 6 musicians on a stage or 6 musicians on a stage plus 50 or 100 or 1,000 people in an audience, it's the space in between and the interactions that happen which create this new thing every time. So that's, we've been trying to find that space today and make something new, which feels like it's happening. It's really exciting.
That's nice. Emmanuel.
So often it's, sorry, I was going to say, just in regard to what Jim said, it's so very often more about what you don't play than what you do play.
Emmanuel, do you feel that's true too?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yes. As a bass player, I'm somehow trying to put together harmony and rhythm. But with these masters, which I have the honor to play with, it's so easy because I always feel like I can put my bass note and everybody is going on it. This is very comfortable. Yeah.
And Luigi, I mean, with Alberto there, do you have to play less? I would think. How do you decide who's doing what?
Yes, I'm feeling really free to play with the percussionist, but you need to give an attention, a special attention, because if sometimes we play the same way, and we are like double rhythm together, and sometimes it's not exactly in the same place, and that it can be something not good. But we try together to play. What do you play? I play this way. Okay, I do this one. Okay, and that works, that match. And we have changed because we haven't, you say before, Chico, the police clave. We haven't that. And that's really cool for me. And if you listen really well, the traditional Cuban music, Cuban, I think, they don't play never the clave. You need to feel, to have with, and it is not. And we speak with Alberto before, and they say, okay, when I play this groove, what do you do? Okay, I do that. Man, Alberto, I feel for myself the other clave, the other way, better, because for the melody is more cool with the melody. They say me, oh, no problem, guy. I can turn, and he turn, and this works very well. That's it. That's the gift for me, And you need don't do a lot of stuff when we play just to keep groove. The groove is the first things, and I think the groove like a respiration, If you so it's not good. And I need to say thank you to Chico, because he bring me on the Chicago way, and he's really laid back. And you have time to check all the stuff. Oh, what do you do? Oh, you rush, you don't rush. Oh, and I can stay, and like Emmanuel, we can put all together, and that's cool.
That's cool. That's very cool. Hey, Chico,
sorry for my English.
No, your English is
It was perfect.
Perfect. Excellent. Chico, you mentioned the AACM, and I'm just guessing that not everybody who's watching this video knows what the AACM is. So will you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the AACM is an organization that began in Chicago. It was started by Muhar Richard Abrams, Jody Christian, and Phil Carine of historical great musicians from Chicago. And the AACM stands for the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians. And a lot of great musicians came out of that organization, from Willie Pickens to Chicago musicians, to the Art Ensemble of Chicago, and Anthony Braxton, and Henry Threadgill, and Air, and myself, and many others. And during that time, when I joined it, Steve Colson, Adego K. Steve Colson, when Muhal opened up this, he started a school And I studied with him and learned composition and stuff. And his methodology for composing was unique and different. Thing that happened, I played in the AACM big band in Mojave Stadium's big band. And some great musicians came out of there. And one of the things where we were playing what we like to refer back then as experimental music. A lot of people doing Cecil Taylor and Archie Shepp and other, they called them more avant-garde stuff, but we never actually embraced that title as avant-garde. We thought it was a great black music and experimental music, because we just decided to break all traditions and all barriers and do whatever we thought we wanted to do. And when we held back, they started it because the clubs didn't want this kind of music in the clubs. So you had to play kind of like straight or blues or straight ahead. So we started doing our own concerts so that we could do this. And we joined with other artistic people. I'll tell you somebody else who came out of the AACM and Phil Carine and the other things, Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire. The whole band of Earth, Wind. I played with Earth, Wind and Fire for quite a while with them. And Donald Myrick, who also, you can hear his solos on Phil Collins' records, No Jacket, Give Me Just One More Night. And all of us, we came out of this Chicago thing. And you remember Chess Records, which did the blues and all this stuff. This is all Chicago stuff, and plus the Impressions. And all of the things that in the Regal Theater, I come up in that thing. My dad and my Uncle George and my Uncle Bruz, and all of this came, and it was connected with the AACM, and people were in and out. So we played both in and out, and experimented and brought all musics together.
The point was to be original, right? It was
to be original.
Music.
Yeah, Howard. You're from Chicago.
Well,
yes,
I mean, as much as a writer like me could be from the AACM, I think I am. I mean, I started following the AACM as a teenager, and have done a lot of writing and interviewing Lester Bowie and Wadada Leo Smith and Threadgill and Braxton, and it's been fantastic to associate with that. But
John Stubblefield
and Dean Myers. I mean, Fred Anderson, of course.
Fred Anderson, and Ari Brown. All these great players and stuff. And then even older ones. Like people don't realize Willie Pickens. These that people know them as really straight ahead beboppers or whatever, but they were all also in there finding new ways. We always said we try to find new ways to do old things.
So do you think you're doing that now with this ensemble? That strikes me as what you're, Yeah,
absolutely. We're doing, there's some songs, I've done some of my previously recorded songs, some new stuff, but we're finding new ways of doing these old songs. And I mean, we're just creating all the time. We're having a great time doing it. And so,
are all the compositions yours?
Not all. Most are, a lot are. We got one standard that we're going, jazz standard that we're going to do, and Coltrane tune, Moment's Notice, I think, and but the rest are, and George Cable's this great song of so not all mine, but most are, but there are some other people that I've added in there, because there's a lot of music out there that's that I think deserves to be heard, and different arrangements and so on.
So Armand, is this a stretch for you? Are you learning new things in this ensemble?
Yeah, I think the harmony part is a stretch for me, because Oriental music is a vertical music. It's not it's a horizontal music. It's not vertical music. So at the same time, I feel home, because there's this rhythmical aspect that I'm very fond of, with two amazing percussionist, drummer, and the bassist that are holding the house. and I think it's the challenge for me is to go beyond my comfort zone with the harmony, and that's the main thing.
How do you stretch yourself? You just listening to the improvisations and try to go there, or do you listen to other, I don't know, guitarists or oud players or pianists thinking about harmony stretching?
Actually, there are lots of my influences that are. I mean, I've heard lots of John McLaughlin, which is a huge influence for me. Lots of Chick Corea, who just passed away. Lots of these guys that really influenced who I am as a musician, because they always have this, you know, of course they are jazz musicians, but they always cross the borders of jazz into other cultures and other music. So I feel I relate to these musicians. But I think a lot of it is not necessarily knowledge, because I don't have the knowledge necessarily harmonically. That's one. And second, I don't see the point necessarily for me, because I don't want to be a jazz musician. That's not who I am. So I feel that I need some knowledge, but I need to listen, I need to hear. And that's what happens in this band. I hear what they are doing and I try to play, what is the impression, what are they discussing? And what I really like, and the choice of musicians that Chico did, is that I feel that everybody is caring about each other, and everybody is, okay, what is my place? What space should I leave for the other? And this is really a beautiful thing to be in a band like that. It's really important, I feel. It's not just great individualities, it's people taking care of each other, and you cannot have a good musical conversation if people are not generous musically.
Jim, I want to ask the same question. Is this a stretch for you?
It's I mean, every musical situation is always a learning experience, and
I mean, he's playing vibraphone, so everything is
with four mallets, no less, right?
Yeah, and it's, you know, you're forging. What I mean was just saying there about relationships is absolutely. I couldn't agree more with it. But you have to forge those relationships. You have to make them. So every time you're meeting new musicians and you're working out how to play with each other, even if you're playing familiar material, it's new every time. So there's always ways to learn. And it was interesting what Alberto and Luigi were saying about clave earlier, because I've played some Latin music, a little bit in the past, but I'm by no means an expert on that. So to be thrown into a situation where I'm being asked to play Montunos is kind of, it's not really that familiar territory. There are codes, there are right ways and wrong ways of doing it if you're playing very traditionally, and I'm not well enough versed in that to be, I wouldn't want to sit in a proper salsa band playing piano. I would be well out of my depth. But as everyone said, there's freedom in this music, and there's freedom in this group and this way of playing, that means that the rules are not important. The only rule is listen and make it work together. And that's something we're all learning to do together. So it's we're so lucky.
Do you play Montuno on vibes?
Yeah, I try. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, well, when I can
answer that, hell yeah, he plays Montuno. He's very humble. He plays Montunos and on vibes, on piano and on marimba, and he's being so humble and saying, but that's the whole point. I live by that Coltrane. One of the things I learned from Coltrane, which was it's not how many things you do, it's how many ways you can do the same thing, and so I like to try to do things like that. So he's self-effacing with regard to his ability. He shocked me when he played these Montunos, because I played with the best. I played with Hilton Ruiz, who knew how to play Montunos in jazz way, and he knew all the traditions and everything. But Hilton was never locked in. If you allow certain rules and traditions to form your forward movement, you aren't going to actually be going forward. You're going to be staying in the same place. So you have to find new ways of doing old things, and sometimes you have to find old ways of doing new things. Point is that you open yourself up to see what's right and what works, and that's what I have to say about Jim. He says, that's the freedom. I give freedom in this band for them to do this. I want this. I invite this. This is what I want. I want Amin to teach me something. It's not like for me, I'm not the leader. The music is the leader. If it works, we never argue about music. We never had big discussions. Somebody says, "Can we do it?" We just try it, and in the end, we all know if it's right, if it works.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to step in and say we've got about 9 minutes left in the session, and if you could all bring it to close, I would like to turn it back over to Carine and have her modulate.
Okay, well, let me ask one more question of Chico, which is just what you see as the future for this ensemble.
Well, I think we have some great potential. We're looking at some things. Very recently, I've been approached about some possibilities that I'm very excited about. The band wants to stay together. They really like playing with each other, and I'm very happy about this. And these are some bunch of happy kids in a candy shop. So, and it's fabulous. Someone's here listening, and they approached me about some potential things, and I have a very positive outlook about what we may do. I want to bring, besides with that, I want to bring them all to the States. I want to bring them to Chicago.
Well, we'll be waiting, but maybe we'll get a little taste of it tomorrow first. I hope you guys.
Yeah, you'll get a taste.
I hope you guys have all been doing okay during the shutdowns and the various restrictions. It's hard for everybody, and we really appreciate the spirit that you're bringing to a live performance like this. It's exciting, and I think everybody's excited to see it tomorrow. So
let's extend a particular thank you to you, Howard, because I really appreciate you doing this, and because they may not know who you are, I do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, he's
as
very
it happens,
well respected, and yes.
Thank
ahead,
you,
Howard. Sorry.
As it happens, I did moderated 2 other panel discussions in the last week, also about live Zooming, live streaming performances. One was with 6 Chicago presenters, including Kurt Elling and Orbert Davis, and people from Hot House, Experimental Sound Studio. Very interesting. And then another one last Sunday for the Jazz Journalists Association, which I'm president of. And we talked about whether these kinds of live streams are getting press coverage and how you get the word out, and whether this is going to be with us for a long time. So if you're interested in those, let me point you to my blog post where both those are embedded, and that's artsjournal.com, Jazz Beyond Jazz. Artsjournal.com, Jazz Beyond Jazz. But otherwise,
artsjournal.com, Jazz Beyond Jazz. Okay.
Thank you so much for involving me. It's really been fun to talk to everybody and to learn about some music that I didn't know about. Really amazing stuff you guys, all of you, are doing separately as well as together in this project. And so thanks, and I'll turn it back over to Carine.
Thanks, Howard. Thanks a lot to be part of that. And maybe put the in the chat, put the link, then we can share it, the link of your blog, and I will copy it to Facebook too after. Hey, and thanks to all the musicians. We are super looking forward for tomorrow. So same time, stay tuned. I was listening a part of it. Yesterday it was without Amin. Today Amin joined. It changed. Yesterday it was full Latin stuff, and now it turned into something very special, actually. It's really a special project, all those people together. And I'm sure, you know, in Europe at the moment, we still, I think a bit all around, we still don't know when we going to be able to do concerts with audience. Vaccines are very slow everywhere, but we all hope that summer should be possible, outdoor, seated audience, safety concepts. And most of the European promoters are afraid they can't bring over American musicians. So most of the program will be European. And I think this kind of mixed band with so many different influences could really interest a lot of promoters who will do a program very short time, like it will never be in another year. And I'm sure we will see them over Europe this summer.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And do you know, I have 3 more minutes. I wanted to tell the whole story of Amin and his brother, but this is too long. They have a beautiful story from their childhood, the grandfather to the father to now. This is too long. But a short story is Amin and Hamza, they are both also doctors. And Amin is a psychiatrist, you say psychiatrist? Yeah. And Hamza is a doctor in a hospital, internal medicine, and they can't really play together at the moment as much because Hamza is too busy with COVID things at the hospital. And Amin is very busy too, but he tries to not take all the
I try to mentally survive.
Yeah, and to do as much music as possible. And he has beautiful new project where he's playing electric oud. He presented at Moods in November. Yeah, and yeah, he has another also point of view. We talked about just before when we ate and had apéro before, about his other job in the period of COVID, which is special to be a psychiatrist in this period. Yeah.
I just want to say something, because really big thanks to Moods, because really it's one of the only places where it's still possible for musicians in Switzerland to perform, to feel alive, because I think it's a way we need to feel alive, not just surviving as human beings, but to feel mentally alive, to feel that we mean something to society, to people. And it's nothing worse than feeling worthless in these times. So thank you, Moods, for the effort you're doing.
Thank you, musicians. Same for us.
That's from a psychiatrist. He's telling you about mental health.
Hey, music is healing, no?
I mean,
and he was just saying that the people are missing that so much. The music, the concert, the going out, the social thing. Music is healing. We need it.
Yeah.
We all need it.
Yeah, I have to echo that, Carine. I want to. You and I know each other a long time. Like I told you, this club is like the Jazz Showcase in Chicago or the Vanguard in New York. This is a world-class venue, and it's home for us, you know. And they really stepped forward, Howard, in doing things that allowing us to play together and making it safe, spacing and masks and everything. But we still, you'll see. I'm in the box of plexiglass. You know, all the other guys, they're free out, but I'm the black guy, but I'm in jail.
But you don't have any mask.
Yeah, you get to take your mask off.
I get to take my mask off. I have to. No, but Carine made this possible. Her and Sebastian, her partner that she works with, and she's been doing this for musicians for here, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's wonderful.
It stopped.
No, John, he's screen sharing.
We should also thank John Tienass of StepNorth.
John, yes.
And Makita Dredd of worldbeatcenter.org.
And Lois Gilbert from Jazz Corner.
And Lois Gilbert.
Yes.
Thank you all for
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Pleasure.
you, everybody. Looking forward for tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
We want to welcome you and let you know that this group, which features Jim Hart on vibes, Emmanuel Sneeder on bass, Luigi Galati on drums, and Alberto Garcia Navarro on percussion. We're also going to have a great oud player here. His name is Armand Mrai, and my name is Chico Freeman. And starting tomorrow on Friday the 26th at 1:30 Chicago time, 2:30 New York time, and 8:30 Zurich time, and of course 7:30 London time. We will be doing a roundtable talk featuring Howard Mandel with Carine Zuber and Arnaud Robert, three great journalists, and Carine is the director of Moods. We will be broadcasting from here from Moods in Zurich. And on Saturday, we'll be doing a live concert, a live stream concert, also at 8:30 Zurich time, 7:30 London time, 2:30 New York time, 1:30 Chicago time, and you can figure it out if you're in California. So we're going to be doing this, and we want to invite all of you to come. We ask that it's free, but you're welcome to donate if you like, and help these guys feed their families during these hard times. So hope to see you tomorrow, 8:30 Zurich time, and on Saturday for the live concert, the live stream at 8:30 Zurich time. Thank you.